Well, we all knew that conservatives were more or less pro-death and suffering, but I never thought I could say that they're pro-toddlers drowning, but based on their actions, they apparently are. And this story in particular is someone who is an ex-lifeguard. I was a lifeguard before I was a YouTuber. This really sends a chill up my spine and makes my blood boil. This is an article I found from Politico this morning. Trump cuts the CDC's drowning prevention team. For those that don't know, drowning is considered a public safety and health concern, which is something the CDC tracks. They are the ones who basically inform everybody from the local pool that you swim at to the Red Cross that certifies lifeguards to paramedics, everybody on the basic fundamentals of like drowning safety, preventing people from drowning, how to rescue people properly from drowning, how to provide aid to someone who is drowned. All of these things, we can thank the CDC for standardizing a procedure around like water safety, right? Like everything that I learned as a lifeguard came from the advice of the CDC and the exact team, no doubt, that Trump just essentially mass fired. Water safety officials usually spend Memorial Day, that's today, warning families that more toddlers die from drowning than any other cause. That's right, guys. The number one cause of toddler death in America, or sorry, globally, not just in America, but globally, is drowning. But this year, fewer people will know about that risk. In April, President Donald Trump laid off the team at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention responsible for tracking and publicizing drownings. That team also worked with parties like the YMCA and the American Red Cross to get at-risk children into swimming lessons. That collaboration has also halted. Knowing how to swim is a fundamental survival and life skill that unfortunately many people don't have, because it requires you to, especially in like your youth, to have had access to water. When you grow up in Florida, you can relatively reasonably always go to the beach and learn to swim there. There's a lot of public pools that are free that you could go to. There's a good likelihood a friend or a neighbor might invite you to go swim in their pool and you can learn how to swim. But like a lot of places, especially if you're more landlocked and if you're living up north, access to a pool is kind of exclusive. And knowledge on how to swim is not as common as you would expect. A lot of people that live in the colder, more landlocked states in the US straight up don't know how to swim. Just straight up don't know. And if they ever end up going to the beach on a vacation or whatever, it might legitimately be the largest body of water they've seen. Well, it would be because it's the ocean, but like as far as going into, like the largest amount of water they've submerged themselves in. Like the fact that you can just take a step and fall off of a drop off and all of a sudden you're underwater and you need to find a way back to shore. Like that concept is foreign to a lot of people in America. You know, drownings are common. It is not. When I was a lifeguard, the most common situations weren't like outright water rescues where someone had to be saved from the bottom or from like an active drowning situation. It was always people like who clearly couldn't swim, almost always adults, funnily enough, who were on vacation to Florida, thought this little river beach spot was like a safe place for them as someone who doesn't know how to swim to like get a little bit of time in the sun. It gets hot, they want to get in the water to cool off, or they go down the slides not realizing the bottoms of the slides, the part of the river at the bottom of the slides is deep, and like you're gonna need to be able to swim when you get to the bottom because it's deep, and they go down the slide and then all of a sudden they're just like they're sinking to the bottom and then they're flailing and freaking out, and you got to stick a noodle out for them, a rescue tube out for them, and have them grab onto it and you pull them up onto the steps. Like that was more often than not how these things went, because people who don't know how to swim oftentimes don't even think about the fact that they don't know how to swim, funnily enough. And so this kind of lack of information, this allowing of further ignorance, is absolutely unacceptable. Zan, you were a lifeguard? I absolutely was, and I love talking about it. I worked as a lifeguard at Weeki Springs State Park, specifically the part of it called Buccaneer Bay. I talk about this relatively frequently. I mean, it's not like something I bring up every single day, but I mean, I talk about having been a lifeguard. Oh, we even got a picture of the bottom of the slides I was talking about. Perfect. Here's the park from the top of the guard tower, actually. There's an old decommissioned slide tower here, and at the bottom, there is a little, like, shack set up, and that's the guard shack. That's where we ate our lunch. That's where we clocked in and everything, where we kept all of our stuff in lockers. And this is the park. It's all spring-fed. It's really pretty. I know you got to squint to see it. This is a very low-res image for some reason. But then we also got this other image, which is the bottom of the slides. This is just one of the slides called the Pirate's Revenge. It's all loopy and curly. There's a stand right here. You can see the lifeguard in this case is standing in the water, ready to do a rescue, probably because it's hot or something. But usually you'd sit in this chair, and you'd signal to the lifeguard at the top of the slide that it's safe to send someone down. But like I said, oftentimes someone would come down. They don't realize that it's more than 6 feet deep here, which is deeper than most people are tall. And then they start, like, flailing around, hopping off the bottom, trying to get little gulps of air. And you're like, oh, shit, this guy can't swim. And so you stick the tube out, you let him grab onto it, and you pull him in. More often than not, you don't have to hop in and, like, rescue people. But yeah, like, not knowing how to swim is a serious drowning risk. If someone wasn't there, in situations like this, many people probably would drown. And I'm talking full-grown adult men in many cases, you know? Like, people you would expect are fully capable of fending for themselves and not dying at a water park, you know? The cuts come at a perilous moment. Drowning deaths rose during the pandemic, hitting 4,300 in 2023, the most recent data, compared to around 4,000 in 2019. They rose even more among the youngest children, ages 1 to 4, for whom drowning is the #1 cause of death. Numbers published by the soon-to-be-terminated team. Oh, good, we won't even have data on this kind of thing, because the teams that followed all this and keep the data. That's what's so disgusting, is we're not even going to have data on the amount of infections or so forth with diseases, the amount of deaths caused by this or that. There's not going to be data to pull from because they've gutted every part of the government that collects data on problems. Like, Trump's solution to the left talking about real problems is to cut us off from our data. I can't tell you how many media calls we've got after that report was released, because I think it was a shocking number to people, and they wanted to know what's going on, said Amy Hill, who works on Chicago's Water Safety Task Force, referring to a CDC study released last May. When the CDC issues a report like that, people pay attention. States will continue to report drownings to the CDC's National Vital Statistics System, but the data will no longer have a team to analyze it. Spokesperson for the Department of Health and Human Services said the Trump administration was not ending its support for drowning prevention efforts, and the HHS would continue to support them. But they're all just getting fired, and the entire team is getting cut at the same time. Okay. Besides the risk to toddlers, the report showed that drowning was one of the 3 leading causes of death by unintentional injury among people 5 to 34 years old. So it is a very common way for people, adults in America, to die. Young to very healthy, able adult people. It has also laid bare disparities in drowning deaths, with the highest rates among American Indian, Alaska Native, and Black people. Oh, interesting. So it is actually a racially based thing, you know? Like, there are more drownings, I guess, among people of color than white people, which makes sense, because if you're white, you probably more likely had access to a pool, regardless of where you live, to learn how to swim as a kid. Without the team's data, federal officials, water safety experts, and medical professionals told Politico they worry that key patterns in drowning deaths will go unnoticed. States continue to receive millions in CDC grants for water safety measures, but the agency's leaders are telling staff to prepare for those to go away too. We're actively pulling away the lifelines and resources that we use to keep our kids safe. And that's really terrifying, said Shannon Gilmartin, executive director for the Safe State Alliance, a nonprofit association of injury and violence prevention professionals. The loss of the drowning prevention team is one that water safety advocates fear will have a direct impact on children's safety, but it's largely gone unaddressed by Democrats as they press Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on other cuts to his department. At a Senate hearing on Trump's fiscal 2026 budget proposal Tuesday, Kennedy broadly defended downsizing federal health agencies as necessary to stem what he described as bureaucratic bloat that occurred during the Biden administration and to restrain the federal deficit. But it's great to know that our health is being used as a weapon against the Democrats. But he was not asked specifically about the cuts to the drowning prevention team. The safety and well-being of all Americans, especially our nation's children, is a top priority for HHS and Secretary Kennedy. I'm going to pretend he said that. The department is strongly committed to preventing tragic and preventable deaths, including those caused by drowning. I can't imitate his, stutter, his, jittering that he does as he does his, absolutely phlegmy, just, torn-up vocal fry speaking. It's very hard to imitate. I need to have whatever disease he has that makes him like that. The spokesperson did not respond to a follow-up question about how HHS would support those efforts. Some researchers have speculated that the increase is a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, when fewer lifeguards were on duty and swimming lessons weren't available because of lockdown guidance, a theory that, without additional reports from the CDC, will remain untested. On Tuesday, Kennedy pointed to America's poor health outcomes despite Biden-era funding levels as evidence to justify the proposed cuts. But some of his own staffers disagree. The way that this was done means that there was a lot of taxpayer dollars that were wasted here because there was work already in process. A CDC official granted an anonymity for fear of retribution. Interesting. I would say that fear of retribution is rightfully held, mind you, told Politico about the layoffs. We could have done it in a way that did not undermine all of this critical work, especially for something like drowning that literally nobody else is working on. Our North Star. The national numbers officials said weren't just used to get the public to pay attention. It also told entities that work on drowning prevention where to focus. Hill told Politico that Chicago sees especially high drowning numbers because of its proximity to Lake Michigan, which was the site of more than 50 drowning deaths in 2024. We use CDC God, there's a mosquito in here and I hate it. The CDC's drowning team was part of the agency's injury center, which lost about a third of its staff amid layoffs in April. CDC Injury Center is like our North Star in injury prevention, said Hill, who also serves as director of unintentional injury prevention programs at Ann and Robert H. Laurie Children's Hospital of Chicago. Trump's budget request would nix the entire center, which also backs domestic violence, which also tracks domestic violence, suicides, car crashes, and overdoses. This means that without officially synthesized data for any of these things, the right can just make up whatever numbers and stats they want to for how big or small of a problem all of these things are in the future. Labeling it one of several duplicative or unnecessary departments. Much of the center's work on domestic violence tracking and prevention is mandated by law. Grants at risk. As of mid-May, the funding that the center sends states to help them with their own drowning prevention work is still intact, but CDC leaders are warning, according to the CDC official, to plan for the grants to be eliminated as well. That is sort of another level of devastation, the official said. Ryan Greenstein, a water safety advocacy program manager at YMCA of Metro Atlanta, said that the YMCA gets money from CDC to fund its safety around water program and offer free survival classes in areas of the city where people are not likely to get swimming lessons. You know what's crazy about that is I learned how to swim at the YMCA. My mom taught me how to swim at a YMCA pool, and then I was on the swim team through all of middle and or the end of middle and all of high school, and I swam at the YMCA through all of that. That was where I had my swimming practice, and some of my meets were even there. Even at different YMCAs we had meets as well, but there was one that I always went to, and so I really do tie the YMCA and swimming together very tightly in my mind. But yeah, they provide a very important service. I learned how to swim at the YMCA, You know, I am a lover of water. I don't want people drowning. I was a lifeguard. I don't like what the Trump administration is doing here. It feels personal. And as far as anyone knows, including people who have been here much longer than me, that's the first time we've ever done a letter as an alliance to Congress on a federal issue, Greenstein told Politico. This is a big issue for us. Yeah, the YMCA having to write a letter to Congress about, like, access to water safety is kind of crazy. Hill noted the lack of national data could inhibit localities' ability to get grants for drowning prevention from outside the CDC as well, because, quote, any grant that you write starts with the needs statement, unquote. Here's the stuff that's a work in progress that's apparently getting cut off. 2 CDC scientists who spoke to Politico on the condition of anonymity for fear of retribution, I'm getting a trend here, I see, detailed the drowning prevention work that was left unfinished when the drowning team was placed on administrative leave. In addition to planning to update the agency's website with more recent federal data on drowning deaths this spring, the team was also analyzing emergency department data to better understand the ramifications of non-fatal drowning. By the way, this is a big deal. We hear that there's, like, you know, only a few thousand drowning deaths per year, and it's like, oh, just a few thousand, it's not a big deal. But those are the people who died of drowning. There's a whole job centered around saving people from actively drowning. Countless people get saved from nearly drowning or actively drowning all the time. And there is no doubt some pretty severe injury that can be incurred there, whether it be just mental trauma from how scary drowning can be as an experience, or physical damage. If you stop breathing due to an active drowning incident becoming a passive drowning incident, these are the lifeguard terms for active drowning is when someone is flailing around, freaking out, like, help me, I'm drowning. And passive drowning is when someone is sunk below the surface and they're still on the bottom. You just see, like, a body on the bottom. That is a passive drowning. And so you want to be able to recognize that, save them, and then know what to do to save them. You want to be able to know what damage was done by them not breathing for some amount of time. Like, this is data that needs to be collected. It's all stuff that adds to our, you know, well of knowledge that we use to train people like lifeguards, people like swim instructors. It's important. Diving instructors as well. Keep that in mind. The YMCA I swam at did dive instruction. In the deep end of the pool during practice sometimes, they'd have people there actively getting their diving certification in the pool, learning how to use the scuba equipment, breathe with it and everything, taking their class. Like, all that, like, plays into this. This is too educational for the MAGAs? Yeah, probably. It probably is. Yeah, you're not wrong, Armageddon Junk. You're not wrong. A project... Oh, so sorry. In addition to planning to update the agency's website with more recent federal data on drowning deaths this spring, the team was also analyzing emergency department data to better understand the ramifications of non-fatal drowning. The other scientists said that they had been close to publishing data on drowning deaths of children with autism spectrum disorder. Ooh, looks like RFK once again trying to hurt autistic kids. Weird how that's been a trend. A project analyzing a novel data source to find out more information on drowning risk factors was about halfway done, and all of the team's work with external partners, including the YMCA, American Red Cross, and Safe States Alliance, was abruptly halted. Quote, this work that we were doing to try and understand how to increase engagement among people who have a higher rate of drowning, I think that might stop. And that's really unfortunate because those kids need swim lessons, the first scientist said. The kids need fucking swim lessons. They really do. Does anyone here not know how to swim? Like, I'm genuinely curious, because I feel like I always just assume everyone knows how to swim. Like, you know, like, it's just like a skill everybody kind of has, right? But who here doesn't know how to swim? No shame if you can't. I don't know how to swim. I'm 20. So you're definitely in a situation where you just never got to learn how. I can swim, but I can't float. I can't swim that good. A little. if you can tread water, then more or less you can swim. I don't mean you have to be able to beat me in like a freestyle race or something, like a freestyle 50-yard race, you gotta beat me. Well, that's not what I'm saying. I sorta can. I can float, basically all I can do. Mass swimming ability. Dude, everyone here who can't swim, I unironically have the personal, like, urge to teach you how to swim now. I really want to teach the people who don't know how to swim here how to swim. It's like, I feel bad that those people don't know how, you know? It's like, it's not that hard and it's an important skill. Yeah, the first Zan fan meetup will just be a massive swimming lesson. Massive public swimming lesson. 30 years old and can't tread water for shit, but I am also terrified of deep water. Ooh, I'm not afraid of the water. That's something I want to do, is like take people to the ocean that are afraid of the ocean and like exposure therapy them, you know? I can beat Zan? You think you could outswim me? I got a varsity letter. I got 2 varsity letters for swimming when I was in high school. I might have an image from when I received it on my computer somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Damn, I don't think I have it on my computer. I'll ask my mom. I'm pretty sure she has it saved onto her computer somewhere. I'll be able to download that to mine and bring it up next time. It's one of my very proud moment. I was like, I kind of was a bit of a jock in high school when I come to think of it. Good, you know, listen. If being a jock means I want to help people know how to swim and prevent drownings, then I fully own the title of jock, okay? I'll take it. That's me, bro. That's me. Took swimming lessons as a kid, loved to swim, but also scared of deep, dark water. Deep, dark water loves you. It wants to embrace you. It doesn't want to hurt you. There's no reason to be afraid of it. All right, Mr. Fear. Keep at the training, all right? I encourage you to swim and grind and get good at swimming. I'm sure you will experience some pretty positive health results if you do. You've swam since you were a month old? I think I've swam probably about as long, Hawk of Music. Grew up in Florida, after all. Anyway. If you enjoyed this segment, if you found it in any way entertaining, educational, or enjoyable, then please consider leaving a like. It is the easiest and completely free way and very quick way to support the stream or my videos. Just a quick thumbs up really does go a long way to support the channel. I really do appreciate it. And on top of that, if you want to double up on the support, you can drop a comment down below as well. If you want to, and you don't know what to say, you can always just comment, "Learn to swim," as that is a very important message, and commenting anything is better than nothing at all, and it helps a lot in the algorithm. So thank you to everybody who likes and comments. You really are helping a lot. It means the world. Thank you to everybody who subscribes and rings the bell icon to turn on all notifications so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can also follow my social medias linked down below in the description. Particularly, I recommend joining my fan Discord, as it's the main hub of my fan base and my community. I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and movie nights there every Friday, every week, and I announce all my new uploads and streams there, so if YouTube bugs out, you'll still get a notification from there anyway. And finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xanderhall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xanderhall merch to the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.